Hi, I'm Carlin Holbrook. I'm a John Maxwell Team certified coach, teacher, trainer, speaker, published author, and influencer with more than 25 years of global leadership experience. If there's one thing I've seen firsthand time and time again, it's that the best leaders inspire others to follow their purpose and their passions, while the influence of a bad leader can literally tear down people's potential. Join me for a few sips of leadership tips that will help you become a better leader by first conquering the hardest person to lead, you. I've seen some pretty disturbing memes lately about the world of AI. And one of them was, it's a series of cartoons. I don't remember who did it, but it's like a series of cartoons of kids playing and starting from like the early 1900s to today and generationally, right? And so kids out, like, pick a genre, 1950s, they're outside, they're on their bikes, they're playing ball, playing jacks, doing things like that. And then increasingly as you come up to the 90s, obviously fashion changes and, maybe they play a little bit more video games now. And then as you get into the 2000s and then they start to project like past where we are now, then you start to see everyone on their phones as individuals. So they're not playing with each other anymore. They're playing on their phones, their heads are down. Then they have these AR goggles on, and they're all in their own little worlds, like coexisting next to each other, but not interacting with each other. And yeah, it feels like, wow, that feels very drastic. But isn't that kind of where we're already headed? I mean, I saw another... I see memes all the time. I'm on social media. I'm not dogging social media. I love social media. It's great. It's great for what it is. But what I'm worried about, from a leadership perspective, is that we're losing our ability to know what's real and what's not. What's fake news, what's truth, and we're losing our humanity. We're losing, and I know I've talked about this before when I've talked about things like the metaverse, etc. And I just don't think people are ready for these type of artificial worlds. And I think we've kind of proven that in how ridiculous people acted during, COVID times. People were not there. They went back to their primal selves, if you will. And when you give a platform like social media that it can amplify those voices, those feelings, those everything, all I saw was a bunch of sheep out there that were touting off what they thought, what they think, based on maybe like one article they read or somebody said something there. It's like we've lost the art of critical thinking. We've lost the ability to sit in a room and at a table and actually have conversations with each other and disagree to a very healthy degree of things. But what today I wanted to talk more about, though, is that I feel like as leaders, we've got to continually bring people back to the human side of things. We have to stay real in an increasingly fake world and false narratives that are all around us, right? And I don't think the answers are, well, then we have to have more laws around people publishing fake things. It's like, that's not that, more regulations, more fact checkers. It's like, okay, let's just stop and put our logic hats on for a hot second. I'm a fact checker. I am a human. I have bias. I have, my own thoughts, my own feelings. What makes me any better of a fact checker than Joe next door? Why didn't we have fact checkers, I don't know, for thousands of years, that we had written books and oral, stories that we'd pass down through generations and written things on papyrus, etc., right? That's not what it's about. It's about absorbing the information and about you being smart enough to go, hold on, I'm going to go and look at a lot of information, do my own research and homework and figure things out and determine what I believe about something. Not just jumping on bandwagons left and right and online lynch mobs of people. And I'm talking about all different sides of people in politics. It's like it's gotten kind of out of control. And I don't want more stringent kind of rules and regs, and I don't want to be watched on and big brothered on, because then that, to me, takes away freedoms of thought and freedom of expression and natural laws that I believe God gifted us with to express ourselves, to have brains, to have ideas and have thoughts. It's a slippery slope, people. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, yeah, but I don't want them to say hateful things. Well, define hate. Everybody defines hate differently. And I don't like hate stuff either. Well, turn it off. Stop looking at it. Don't watch it. Don't follow that person. Don't absorb that. It amazes me how much people are absorbing the thoughts and feelings of other people, and it breaks my heart, because it's like, you guys, you can put up your own boundaries. You can decide what goes into your brain and what doesn't go into your brain. You do have that control and power. And please, for the love of all things, parents, have more control over that with your children and your kids, and making sure that they know how to critically think, not what to think. Schools aren't doing a very good job these days of teaching critical thinking or resilience, or helping people to really assess, kind of like, okay, I hear this, but let me assess that. Let me take that in, but I'm gonna question. I'm gonna get curious. We're losing these arts, and that's what I think I'm worried most about, especially as future generations come into the workforce. You increasingly create this artificial world, these alter realities, and you know what? Those are fun as games, right? Like, I am not dogging games. If you want to be a gamer and go in these other universes and have a good time, cosplay, do it. Have fun. I love imagination. I love creativity, sci-fi, fantasy. It's all good. But don't let it blur into reality. That's the danger, is people are starting to go, well, I need escape. I don't want, reality sucks and reality bites. So I'm going to go escape in that world, and I'm going to go so deep in that world where I can't even see reality anymore. That's, to me, what's very scary. And artificial intelligence, what's scary to me about that too is there's been so many, do your homework, so many examples around the world of things like that not benefiting humanity, because you're building things that can essentially think for themselves and become smarter than humans based on the amount and ability to process data way quicker than any human brain can do. Is that really healthy? That's creating something that can fill us. Carlene, you're sounding like a sci-fi movie. All right. You are entitled to that opinion, but really do your homework. Go out there and see. There was a car in Japan that took over itself and tried to blow people up. There's been, case study after case study all over US, Europe. You don't hear them in mainstream media because that's not what's feeding the narrative of progress and technology and innovation. And again, nothing wrong with that. Innovation's cool. Using this kind of tech, but keep it in its place is what I'm saying. And humans suck at that. Humans suck at balancing things and keeping things in moderation. And they are really good at going to the opposite end of the extreme pendulum, one way or the other. That's my concern. So as leaders, what do we need to do? We need to be, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into SIPs here. We need to make sure, SIP number 1, to establish and clarify reality. What is for entertainment versus what is real is going to continue to blur. We have to always make sure that we're bringing people back to humanity, to who we are at the core, who we are as human beings, not just the human doing part of all these things of what we're doing. It's important, SIP number 2, be a truth seeker. Be your own fact checker. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. I think Abe Lincoln said that. There's so many laws, rules. That is not what's going to help people. And you've got to be more critical about what you're reading. If you think about, but I believe science and I believe fact, I believe this. It's like, okay, well, some of the best scientists of our time once believed the world was flat. And they also thought shock therapy was a good way to treat mental health issues. So scientists aren't always right either. And the scientific community disagrees with each other on pretty much everything too. So you're like, well, then who am I supposed to believe? Believe your heart, believe your mind, believe your soul. Like, do your research, do your homework, get curious, ask questions. And it's okay to not jump on people's bandwagons online. Maybe sometimes it's also taking a step back going, I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm not going to jump in on the narrative on this because I'm not sure yet. Right? I want to see where this goes. So that way we also bring a little bit more unity and unification back to humanity. And then the final SIP, double down on interpersonal skills, because we and the future generation are going to need it. The more we get into these very tech-heavy spaces, alternate realities and universes, the more we are going to, as leaders, we need to ground people in, hey, that's great, but there's a place for that, and there's a place for being real and human. What you do with your avatar is not okay to do to a real human being. What you do in a game is not okay in the work environment, in the school environment, in the family environment. We have to make sure that people still know how to interact with each other, not just face to face, but human to human, person to person. Not these, some dude handle at 365 on Instagram, and I could say whatever I want because I don't know who that guy is. How do you continue to create opportunities to connect heart to heart, face to face, and know how to have those kinds of conversations without letting our fears and our feelings and everything bubble and freak out on the surface? How do you set boundaries and help people to set boundaries in their own mind and not take everything they read and see so deeply and so emotionally? We are wrecking our mental health ourselves because we are taking things so personally into heart on so many things. And look what it's doing. It's increasing suicide rates, increasing mental health issues. It's getting people to like hate other people even more because they disagree on something or they don't see something that way. We're taking everything way too internally. We're internalizing everything, and we don't have to do that. We shouldn't do that. There's just so much fakeness in the world. I mean, heck, they're even like making our food fake now. You know, everyone's so plant-based meat. Yay, that's so great. Read the labels. It's not plant-based. It's made in a freaking lab. It's fake. It's chemicals. Everything is becoming fake. Why? Because it makes money. And there's no altruistic thing for Bill Gates to create all this fake meat. There's not. It's to make money. It's way cheaper. You don't have to have agriculture. I'm not trying to get political. I'm literally stating facts. Why would you create something like that? Oh, it's to save the planet. How in the hell does that save the planet? You're adding more chemicals into human bodies. You're adding more chemicals into the world. We see how chemicals in labs really work out for us, right? Instead of the way humans have for thousands of years, eaten food out of the ground and off the trees and out of the oceans and on the land. That's what our biology is made for. It's what our humanity is made for. But when we are putting all these chemicals, why is cancer on the rise? Why are a lot of these illnesses on the rise? Genetically modified things. It's packaged food, processed food. I mean, heck, Europe does it better than we do. So does China and Asia in general. They have fresher foods. They limit preservatives. They do all. We're creating so much fakeness in the Western world that it's even going to impact our health, our physical health, not just our mental health. It's coming at us from all sides. So what's real? We can't strap on AR goggles and just pretend that none of this is going on. We can't just be an avatar and go, oh, I'm just living in my own fantasy world over here. Because it doesn't work that way. And nor should it work that way, because that's not reality. Those aren't real relationships. That's not doing life together, being together. Again, have fun in those games, but keep them compartmentalized to games. Recognize what is real and stick with reality, and always clarify reality, even when it bites. Because that is what the human path is. Those valleys, peaks and valleys, and those valleys are where we learn. It's where character's built. It's where we grow out of our comfort zones. It's going to be okay. So instead of fully escaping those valleys, let's just get some better tools to help us dig our way out of them so we get back up on those peaks together. Thank you for having a cup of coffee with me. For more sips and tips, connect with me on social and follow Leader Sips on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. And don't forget to visit my website, carlyneholbrook.com. Until next time, keep on brewing.